Hi, Dr. Anita here, and welcome back. We've been considering our personalities, how you and your family members are uniquely wired in our personalities, and by understanding that we can now adapt and adjust what's going to work in the midst of the current crisis. Today is factor number 5, and that is neuroticism. And breaking that down, it's simply around how quickly we are emotionally reactive. So those on the higher end of the scale will very rapidly go to anxiety, depression, and even volatile emotions of anger. But also you can even see withdrawal at this end of the scale. But on the lower end of the scale are those that actually manage to stay quite steady and stable in their emotions and don't as quickly go into the emotions of negative feelings that you might have. So what does that mean in the midst of this current crisis? Well, the fact that we're in a current crisis, we're all a bit susceptible to becoming quite reactive at this time. But you need to understand if you're a bit more vulnerable than most to going to those negative places. And if you are, then having tools at hand that are going to work for you. And if you haven't figured that out, this is the time to really think about it. And if you've got children that are like this on the higher end of reactivity and actually negativity even, then helping them to learn the tools that they might need. And when I talk about tools, I mean things like what I've talked about in other videos, like finding ways of staying present in the moment and adjusting your breathing, your thinking, and so on and so on. And there's lots of tools out there to figure out how do you recalibrate from those negative spaces back into a place of actually doing a little bit better in your emotions. Now, I don't want you to think that this is really bad, that I have this vulnerability to go into these reactive places. In fact, as someone who's experiencing that, you will understand what other people are finding difficult at this time. And that's a great empathic tool that not everybody has. And so those on the lower end might actually be in danger of, because they're so stable in their emotions, not understanding those that go into that reactive place. In fact, looking on and thinking this is so alien to me. And so not having the empathy for those who might be struggling in that way. So you that might be on the lower end that don't necessarily rapidly go into those particular negative feelings or emotions, that's something that can lead to lacking empathy for those who might have difficulties. But then you can lend your strength in other ways to those who might be struggling as well at this time. So that's about the area of neuroticism, or as I like to call it, emotional reactivity. And it brings me to my last point as we finish up the area of personality, and that is that it's so important that we each know how we're wired and to become self-aware at this time, knowing who you are, who your family members are, and how they operate and what actually makes them tick, because this is what we're going to need to use to adapt and adjust uniquely through this particular bizarre time. I hope you found this all helpful, and I hope to also see you soon. But in the meantime, stay well